So I just saw Scary Movie 6 yesterday, and overall, I would recommend it to people who are fans of the first two films. However, as Ryan Hollinger would say, I do not recommend it for Gen Z or really anybody who wasn't a fan of those first two films. And even then, like, you might not like it. This film had a lot of problems. It really did. And one of them was the degree of stupidity to the humor. Now, I understand that to a certain degree, I might be looking at Scary Movie 1 and 2 with like rose-colored glasses because I was a teenager when I went out to see them, and teenagers love good, stupid, raunchy, goofy humor. I'm not saying that the first two weren't funny, but there was a lot of stupidity. Scary Movie 2, in my opinion, I think that it had one of the funniest openings of the entire franchise, okay? And the first half had a lot of really good stuff, and more towards the end, it kind of went off the cliff a little bit and went into just like super stupidity with like, moo, motherfucker. Scary Movie 6, or Scary Movie, however you want to put it, essentially it's kind of the opposite, I would say. The first half of that movie, like, was just really, I wouldn't even say swings and misses. There was some really lazy humor in there. Like, dude, like slapstick, it's one of the oldest forms of humor, but damn, dude, there is this particular scene in the hospital where, like, the older sister keeps on, like, accidentally hurting the younger sister. The bed, like, rises up and mashes her against the ceiling, and, she has that, like, oops. Like, I was actually getting pissed off at it. It kind of reminded me of Epic Movie. Back in the day when I went to that movie is trash. But when I went to see Epic Movie, that part in the movie, for those of you who've seen it, where they start doing the MTV cribs in, like, the Fawn's cave, like, I actually started to get, like, viscerally pissed off because I was like, this is just not fucking funny. Like, this is like a third grader, like a no-talent third grader wrote it. One of the biggest problems with this film is that they marketed it as, we're going to cross all these lines, we're going to break down all these barriers, and there's a lot of people who were, indeed, it was a good marketing campaign, who were drawn to theaters because they're like, great, is comedy back? Sort of a thing. They overpromised. They definitely overpromised. And the thing is, though it did reel people in, it's not going to bring them back to the theater. So I think they're going to have a very successful opening, and I think there's going to be a very steep drop-off right after the fact. So yeah, they goof on, like, woke shit. One of the scenes that I actually did kind of like is one that you see from the trailer where she goes like, my pronouns are they, them. And basically everybody on the subway gets pissed off with her. And it sort of like mirrors that, scene from the first Scary Movie where Brenda won't shut the fuck up in the movie theaters and everybody starts stabbing her. It's like a nod to that, but also like, we all find people who talk in theaters annoying. We also find people who are hypersensitive about everything to be really annoying and kind of a bummer to be around. So, like, it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm grabbing my gut laughing so hard. It was, I got a chuckle out of it. There was one critic that I read that actually said something to the effect of, like, it comes across as conservative. And it's like, bullshit. It came off as a regular comedy. They lampooned everybody. They were equal opportunity lampooners. They goofed on race. They did it a lot to the point where it actually sort of started to get tired, really, to be honest with you. They goofed on white people. They goofed on Republicans. They goofed on Trump, okay? They goofed on everybody. They goofed on Christianity. And I'm fine with that. The problem is, make those jokes funny, I feel that, like, they crossed the line, but they did so as carefully as possible. Like, there's one joke, and Cody Leach brought this up, okay, but it is a perfect example. When Gail Hailstorm is talking to Doofy, and he's talking about how, she gave good blowjobs or whatever, she said, oh, no, ever since the Me Too movement, I only do hand jobs. And it's like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that mean? That doesn't make any sense. And then there was another scene also with Doofy. Doofy is in this movie too much, because, when he had his little moment, he could really go like this, but when they give him too many lines, it just, I don't know, it was a little too much. But like, yeah, there's this other scene where, like, Sidney basically says to him, like, yeah, you were the killer last time, shouldn't you be in jail? And he goes like, no, I got pardoned because of, and it's him on January 6th, like, with the, bull bison helmet thing that the dude had and his face painted and shit. And it's like, again, that joke I don't understand, because if Doofy did this back in the year 2000 and Jay's sixth happened in 2020. It just doesn't make sense. It's like there are jokes. It was lazy. It was lazy. It was like, hey guys, look at how edgy we're being. We mentioned the Me Too movement and we mentioned January 6th. Uh-oh. But okay. I mean, like, it's like, look at how edgy we are. I don't know. It was just really stupid. It was lazy. It was very lazy. It was really just a bunch of skits and it was just them throwing shit against the wall and seeing what would stick. I would say 60% of it didn't stick, 40% did. And the 40% that did was actually really funny. There were a couple scenes, there were a couple callbacks, you know, even like the raunchiness of the whole thing, seeing all the old characters at least make a cameo, you know, that was, there was the nostalgic angle to it, all right? And there were some really good spoofs, and even the way, for the most part, they were able to incorporate like all these ideas from different horror movies into one linear plot. There are a few like skits here or there that they don't follow, like there's no resolution to any of them. They don't build up to anything. They just kind of randomly happen and make no sense in any context. But for the most part, the references do fit. And like I said, around the second half of the movie, it starts to pick up again. Some of the jokes actually wind up becoming funny. This film had the Miramax label on it, and I am very curious about that. Like, and not only that, but can we get Dimension Films back? Like, I understand that Harvey Weinstein tarnished the brand or whatnot, and Dimension, I believe, was a subsidiary to Miramax, but Weinstein's out, man. He's gone. Like, can we get that for nostalgia's sake? I really hope they bring back Dimension Films. But I was kind of wondering, I'm like, did they only put the Miramax logo on it as like a fuck you to Harvey Weinstein? Because that would be pretty legendary. And the Wayans brothers, like, they go on the attack in a funny way. In a funny way, everything that happened with like Scary Movie 3 and 4, they rag on Anna Faris. The freaking dude who was with Kevin Hart, I don't know the actor's name, but he has a small part in it, and they rag on him for, like, you know, agreeing to take on the franchise after they got dicked over. But like, it didn't come across as bitter. It came across, if anything, it came across as like an FU to the Weinsteins, you know, like it came across as like, yeah, we got our franchise back now, bitches, you know, kind of a thing. And I appreciated that. I also appreciated like the way that it's evident that they actually like horror films, and they are very much, you know, about the legacy characters. I like the way the movie ended. I thought that it was kind of fun. I just had a smile on my face, you know. Overall, I'd say I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. You know, it's the same shit. It's a kind of tired humor that its time has come and gone. But in a nostalgic way, you know, if you were a fan of the first two films, I'd imagine you'd get a couple chuckles out of this. It's not hysterical by any stretch of the imagination, but there are enough scenes that work. And it does definitely, you know, bring it back to like the raunchier, you know, nasty kind of scary movie thing. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, I had a good time with it. I'll probably have a good time rewatching it, frankly, because I'll know, I might even fast forward that scene in the hospital. That like this just really, really like low hanging fruit, like just slapstick stupidity. I don't know. It bothered me. It's like, bro, it's like, we're like a quarter of the way through the century now. Like, come on, man. Like, anyhow, yeah, for the most part, I liked it. I would recommend it. However, I can definitely see a lot of people not liking it, and with very good reason. So take from that what you will, but that's my thoughts. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys, and that's all she wrote.